Good day everyone, this is Group 5 and we are tasked to share to you our knowledge about material management system, particularly on purchasing and inventory. And so with that, let us proceed with the first slide. So let us define and know what a material management is first of all. So by definition, material management is simply an approach of planning, organizing, and controlling of the flow of materials in an organization. So, in other words, material management is simply the method of organizing, controlling, and planning of the flow of every materials in an institution or a company. With material management, it can lead to the control of the location, movement, and time of those materials from their introduction, production, manufacturing process, and final delivery. Because after all, materials management makes sure that materials available are aligned with the customer demands, thus giving a schedule of cost and resources that the company has or needs. And to effectively coordinate such activities, particularly the activity of organizing, controlling, and planning of the flow of every materials in an institution or a company, Materials Management Information System was implemented. So let us proceed with the next slide. And let us define what a material management system is. So it is a software suite packaged as an integrated offering to meet materials management and back office needs. It is also used to automate functions such as purchasing and accounting, and it facilitates inventory management and patient supply charges. So, in summary, it is an appropriate method, or should I say, material management information system is an appropriate method of determining the optimal combination of prices, quantity, quality, and purchasing schedule of direct and indirect materials. Because with material management information system, an impeccable record-keeping system of purchases and inventory with an audit trail can be validated. So let us proceed with the next slide and define what materials is. So materials can be considered as any community used directly or indirectly in producing a product or service. And as we can all perceive, every product is a combination of material. And that's why it is considered as the lifeblood, heart of any manufacturing system. Next, we have the purchasing in the hospital setting. So by definition, it holds a responsibility for procuring goods for the project alignment with the specification, standardization, and compliance with the project schedule and budget. It has the main goal of any hospital purchasing department is to deliver high quality goods and solution at the best price. So purchasing as a word, it is the purchase of the materials needed in the entire production process. The objective of this department is to maintain the flow of materials and services needed to operate in the company and to keep investments and losses in inventory to a minimum. And they also play a central role in negotiating, soliciting bids, and creating purchase orders and review requisitions for goods and services from various departments. Because after all, with purchasing, it enables us to choose the sources of supply, finalize the terms of purchase and their follow-up, maintain the relationships with the suppliers, approve payments for the suppliers, evaluate and qualify the development of the suppliers. And so with that ends my report, which is about the purchasing. And now let us welcome Ms. Charlene Paid for the purchasing process.
Like any other process, purchasing process is made up of several steps or activities. Each step takes information, processes it, and turns into an output to feed into the next step. We have the purchase request, purchase order, and receiving delivery. So, what are the functions of purchasing process? First, it is to select a proper supplier for the materials requisitioned before placing order. Second is to negotiate about the price of the materials from the supplier. 3. To assure the quality of the materials and should not be compromised with the cost. And last is to set proper purchase policy and procedure. So, just like other processes, purchasing process has a functions too, and that is what I've mentioned. Now, purchasing process, we all under purchasing process we have purchase quotations, preferred vendors, purchase request, and purchase approval. So, what is purchase quotations? It is a document for requesting prices and delivery information from a vendor before the place purchase of order. It helps in lessening expenses, improving the quality of the product or service, and of course, increasing the on-time delivery. A purchase quotation report, it allows the comparison of offers to pick the appropriate vendor.
A preferred vendors is a manufacturing or merchandising company that is chosen by the business entity for continuously supply of their inventory. They choose their preferred vendors wisely, which offers a high quality product with reasonable price. Purchasing request, it is a document given to the purchasing department to acquire an item needed. It stipulates the time frame and quantities for the request items. Example, in a hospital, there is an apparatus which is needed to be replenished. The supplies department will prepare a purchase request and give it to the purchasing department to start the purchasing process. This document will also be given to the finance department for reporting procedures.
Purchasing process, purchase order, a legally binding contract which shows that the seller has already accepted the order issued by the buyer. It should contain information about the buyer and seller, order number and order date, item description, shipping information, billing address, and authorized signature. Next is we have receiving and tracking items. First is signing for deliveries. Deliveries are inspected by the receiver before signing up the receiving document and packing list. Next is refusing deliveries. If packing appears to be damaged or if an item doesn't have any corresponding purchase order, the receiving department shall refuse to accept the package. Next, record retention. During delivery, the packing list should be given to the receiving department to ensure that the correct documentation is in place, as they will be assuming possession and legal title of the delivered items. If no list was supplied, the department should contact the supplier for a copy. All files should be retained in accordance with the entity's policy so that the tracking of incomplete and staggered delivery will be easier.
Okay, so the next is inventory control. Inventory is one of the biggest expenses for most medical institutions, and it is also the process of keeping the right number of parts and products in stock to avoid shortages, overstocks, and other costly problems. Inventory controls also plays an important part in refining the quality of healthcare services since lives of people are on the line and medical costs are increasing. It also involves inventory tracking and maintenance of goods since it also includes making decisions to get the most profit out of your stock and planning purchases. It is the process of keeping and ensuring that appropriate amounts of stock is maintained to avoid shortages or para mapunan at mabigyan natin ang kanilang kailangan in sufficient amount and also para maiwasan ang overstock and other costly problems like for example, this can include the raw materials, labor, manufacturing overhead, certain administrative costs, and storages. It also includes the cost of purchased merchandise or yung budget ng manager to plan para sa mga inventory purchases for the upcoming events. It also includes the less discounts that are taken plus any duties and transportations that cost paid by the purchases, and kasali na dito ang mga food and other medical equipments.
So the next is the strategies in improving inventory control in the healthcare facility. The first one is ensuring shipment accuracy. Checking shipments for accuracy means ensuring that the received items are the ones ordered and the supplies are free from possible damages during transit. Next is aligning with sales projections. It is coming up with an inventory tracking report in comparison with actual sales proves to be a challenge in the field of medicine. However, it is necessary to prevent wastage, identify trends, and ensure that there is no excess inventory. Third is complying with regulations. The health institution should be responsive to the current trends and needs of the highly regulated healthcare industry. Regulators monitor health institutions and determine the success or failure of companies to serve the best interest of the patients. The last is establishing buying cycles. Buying cycles should be determined and understood by inventory personnel based on the previous cycles so that inventory ordering becomes manageable through the elimination of shortages and overages. The said cycles determine the trends and adjustments that can be made accordingly. The next is common inventory handling methods. The first one is the first in, first out. Inventory items here are sold based on the order they are purchased, and this is the most common technique. Second is last in, first out. Last items to enter the system are sold first, and this is common among non-perishable items like petroleum, minerals, and metals. And next is the first expired, first out. Materials are sold based on the days they should be consumed, regardless of when they were purchased. Next is the inventory control systems. The first system is the continuous inventory system, or the fixed order quantity system. A continual record of the inventory level for every item is maintained, and whenever the inventory on hand decreases to a predetermined level, referred to as the reorder point, a new order is placed to replenish the stock of the inventory. Next is the periodic inventory systems, or the fixed time period system. The inventory on hand is counted at specific time intervals, for example, every week or at the end of each month. And after inventory in stock is determined, an order is placed for an amount that will bring the inventory back up to the desired level.
So the next is expired and quarantine stock inventory. Expired stock or inventory is upon reaching the expiration dates that some goods such as food and medicine can no longer be utilized, and in rare instances, they may be sold to other parties at lower cost. Expiration dates increase in the values of items must be reflected in the financial records. The amount that reduces inventory in the records is recognized as a large loss for company or organization. Expired stock is when it reaches its expiration date, and like foods and medicine, it can no longer be utilized or hindi na natin siya magagamit since it is expired or it reached its expiration date. But in any situation, maaari natin silang ibenta sa ibang company na may mas mababang gastos. Or in other words, a trader will have to decide what they want to do with their open position before the expiry date. So the next is quarantine stock inventory. Defective goods, whether to be sold as scrapped, reworked, returned, or used as it is, and is placed in a quarantine location or warehouse until a final decision is reached on what to do with it. Quarantine stock inventory is an inventory of specific items that are kept for an emergency situation or items that are set aside for a specific use. And it is also refers to materials that belong to the user but is not yet ready for use. Inventory is placed into quarantine if production upon completion of operation when specified as move rejected end item to quarantine. Inbound inspection upon receipt of manufactured end items or the final product of a series of changes, processes, or operations industry whose end product is yarns and fabrics or etc. Purchase items is the purchase means that those certain products that are purchased by customers and provided by the seller. The sold items on sales return orders is a customer might return an item for several reasons, like maybe the customer bought more than they needed or bought the wrong product and found a better product. Enterprise planning distribution orders and the outbound inspection upon issue of materials to production. The outbound process is used to issue goods from the warehouse to issue and ship goods from a warehouse, and warehouse processing is either based on handling out units or out shipments and warehousing order lines. The outbound warehouse is also inspections can only be approved or rejected. So that is all, and thank you for listening.